Okay, the Witch modded class has a really fun Witchblade build, so we're going to go over that today. This is my Witchblade build. We're going to go levels 1 to 12, combat tutorial items, all that fun stuff. I'm going to start with the Witch. Now, this gives us some really cool cantrips like Arcane Blade, where you can use your spellcasting ability for attack rolls. So let's go over everything. Now, for the two spells I'd pick here, Arcane Blade. Your bladed weapon becomes magical, dealing 4 to 11 slashing damage and using your spellcasting ability for attack rolls. And it's a bonus action. This is a great to use early game. We're also going to take Spread Cursed Poison. Your witchcraft infused poisons eat away at your foes, inflicting a number of cursed poison stacks equal to your medicine skill. Now coming further into the game, we do have our next skill, and we're going to take Lesser Regeneration. Imbue a target with regeneration for 2 turns, cost 1 witchcraft in addition to spell slots. For your ability points you want something akin to this, we're going to have 8 strength, 16 dexterity, 14 constitution, 16 intelligence, 10 wisdom, 10 charisma. Intelligence being our spellcasting modifier, constitution for health and concentration, dexterity for finesse weapons if you want to use that instead, helps with your AC, initiative, and then strength. We don't need strength for our items because we can either use our dex or we can use our spells and turn it into our intelligence. For your efficiencies, take what you feel like, but I would suggest taking medicine. And we move forward to level 2, and that's where we get our specialization as well as our witchcraft points. Now for our first spell, we are going to take Create Lesser Water. This pairs really nicely if you have a Storm Sorcerer or if you have anyone with lightning abilities to maximise their damage. And then for a spell, Create or Destroy Water, same philosophy. And then when it comes to your passives, the first one we're going to take is Twin Spell. Target 2 creatures at once with a spell, uses 1 witchcraft point. And for the subclass, you know it, we're going with the Witchblade, and this gives us proficiency with a bunch of items, as well as things like Witchblade Dodge. As a bonus action, you can give an enemy disadvantage, get Voltaic Edge. Again, you can use this to coincide with our Create and Destroy Water, all sorts of fun stuff. Which level 3 gives us a bunch of more spells and a passive. Now for our first spell here, we're going to take Mirror Image, create those 3 duplicates, add a 9 to our AC, tremendous. We're also going to take Spike Growth, a great spell, halves the movement speed, take 2 to 8 piercing damage as they move through it. Really nice way of just keeping them going. And then for your spell here, we're going to take Colour Spray, blind creatures up to combined 33 hit points. For your passive, we're going to take Great Weapon Fighting, because as you can see, we are using a 2-handed weapon. So this means if we roll 1 or 2 on damage die, we get to re-roll it. Okay, Witch level 4 gives us first feat, as well as more witchcraft points. Before that we have a spell, so we're going to take Hold Person. A really nice way of controlling the battlefield. Enemies within cannot move, react or act, and any melee attacks on them will be guaranteed critical hits. For your feat, we're going to take the SI improvement, bump our intelligence up to 18. And that brings us to Witch level 5. This gives us things like Witch Step, all sorts of nice bonus actions we can do. We also get one more spell, so for this one we are going to take Plant Growth. This is sort of like Spike Growth, but instead of doing damage, it only does less movement speed. And then for your next spell, we're going to take Darkness, and we're going to use this a lot. That brings us to level 6 and more witchcraft points and an extra attack. One more spell, so for this one we are going to take Witch's Boon. Grant all allies you can see regeneration for 3 turns. And we get another passive, and for this one we're going to take Distant Spell. Now when it comes to your passive here, we are going to take Kismet's Eye, so this creature can see within magical darkness. Witch level 7 gives us Mage Blade. Melee weapon attacks with weapons you're proficient with do additional slashing damage equal to your intelligence modifier, so just a little bit extra damage. This brings us to our next bunch of spells, and we're going to take Edvard's Black Tentacles, one of my favourite spells in the game. I put this on my top 10 list, it has stayed on my top 10 list. And that brings us to level 8, another feat, as well as some witchcraft points. For a spell here, we're going to take Blight. And then we're going to take Dampen Elements. So when you and an ally get hit with Acid, Cold, Fire, Lightning or Thunder damage, use your action to half the attack's damage. I love this because it just defensively boosts your whole party. And then for a feat, we're going to take the ASI, Intelligence up to 20. Witch level 9 gives us Phase Edge. At 9th level, Witchblades gain the ability to spend Witchcraft to temporarily imbue their weapons with 3 to 18 extra force damage and greater invisibility. We get more spells, so here we're going to take Contagion. And we get some passives, and we're going to come all the way to the bottom. For expended Witchcraft, we want those 4 extra Witchcraft points. Witch level 10 gives us a counter attack. So when someone misses us with a melee attack, we can spend a Witchcraft point to strike back. We get another spell, so we're going to take Dominate Person. And Witch level 11, we get another passive and some more skills. Our first spell is going to be Greater Jinx. I love this spell for any witch. 18 to 72 damage. It's psychic, cold, necrotic, also it's just amazing. You have to choose this spell in my opinion. We get another passive, and you can probably guess, but we're going to come to Witchcraft Mastery to get another 6 points. And that brings us to level 12, where we get a new feat. And we're going to pick Hero's Feast in case you don't want to use damage, you want to be a bit more defensive and have a bit more utility. Hero's Feast is the way to go. For a passive, we are going to take Illusionary Self. You can magically fashion an illusionary duplicate of yourself when attacked, causing your foes to automatically miss that attack, again making us super defensive. And then for a feat, we're going to come all the way down here, and we're going to take Savage Attacker. Essentially, we roll our damage dice twice, and we use the highest amount. Okay, let's go over our items. So for helmet, we're using the Helldusk helmet. Please bear in mind, we cannot use medium armor. If we come to our proficiencies, following this build as it is, we only have light armor and we have shields. So bear that in mind, things like Savrok's Horned Helmet, you won't be able to use stuff like that. For a cloak, the Flesh Melter cloaks, and when you take melee damage, they take 1 to 4 acid. The Disintegrating Nightwalkers stop you from being enwebbed, entangled or ensnared, can't slip on ice or grease. Get Misty Step as well. You could put this on a different character if you wanted to, because obviously we gain things like Witch Step, whatever it's called. So instead you just swap these up for the Boots of Genial Striding. Works as well. For this build to really work in the end of the game, we're going to take the Gauntlets of Hill Giant Strength. Now bearing in mind, you could put this on another ally and just focus on using your Intelligence as your buff to use your bonus action to boost your sword. But if you don't want to use that and you want to save your spell slots, go for the Gauntlets of Hill Giant Strength. They're interchangeable, depending on which sort of version you want to go. If you want to put this on Lae'zel, for example, and have Lae'zel and your Witchblade, you could, or you can just focus on your Witchblade. The Ring of Regeneration to continually heal up 1 to 4 hit points at the start of our turn. Killer's Sweetheart to deal critical damage if we kill an enemy. Amulet of Greater Health sets our Constitution 23, helps with our concentration spells. And the Sword of Chaos. On a hit, regain 1 to 6 hit points, and once again, good damage. If you want to switch this out, my suggestion would be to take something such as the Halberd of Vigilance. Sentinel weapon, so +1 to initiative and advantage. Can make an attack roll as a reaction, make it with advantage, gain force damage, and thanks to our Witchblade, we do have proficiency with it. So you know, for example, I'm actually going to use the Halberd, because I've been using the Sword of Chaos so much in many of my builds, because I love it. I'll show you it with the Halberd. So that is this build. Let's go pick a fight and show off. Now, when you leave combat, there is some stuff you can do. For example, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use our level 6 spell slot, and we can cast Hero's Feast. And you'll see everyone has become buffed up. Because of the Witchblade, we do actually have 2 level 6 spell slots, which means we still can pump out the Greater Jinx when we get into combat. Okay, as you can see, we have started the combat, and we're actually mid sort of initiative, so we'll take that. And now it's our turn, and the gist of this build is you're going to be in melee, and we're going to throw up Darkness. We're going to try and encase as many people as possible. Sadly, we can't seem to encase everyone, so we will put it here, and we'll deal with the Barbarian. Now, we're immune to blinded, which means we can run in here, and on our next turns, we can actually start smacking enemies as hard as we want. What is really cool is we have spells like we can do things like our Volcanic Edge and all that sort of fun stuff. Now you see the enemies are attacking us, but we're saving those concentration throws. Now you see we healed up for 1, and we can just stand in the pocket now, and we can start taking the attacks to the enemies. Now again, we do have an extra attack, so we get a bunch of extra goodness when it comes to dealing these attacks. And we're just going to chip away at the Barbarian in the middle. And this works really well, because if you have this with a bunch of enemies in melee, then you will just stand in pocket, control the battlefield, and just rain down death. You see our AC is really good, but they're missing attacks. And again, we just stand here, and we rain down death. Just like that. We could try our Volcanic Edges if we wanted to. So there you go, we'll get that ready for our next round. And just so many good things. We can even do a Phase Edge. So you really get to choose these options for dealing extra damage.
Orders.
You can see a big miss, then a hit, but they still maintained concentration. Okay, so we've got all our buffs going. Let's check out our damage output now. So that's the first hit. Because of that extra attack, we can come in here. Executioner. Guaranteed crit, we're going to save that because I want to show you the base damage with your buffs. And there you go, even without the critical, we still did over 40 points of damage. And then from there, as a bonus action, we can do things like Witch Step. And we can't seem to see it. There we go, we'll come up here and start hunting down the next ones. Now again, we have the Killer Sweetheart, so we're going to guarantee a crit here. And there you go. Now unfortunately they are a rogue, so rogues are just incredible. But lots of fun things like that, and again, just stay in the pocket, dealing damage. But we also have our spellcasting stuff, and we can't forget about that. So, as I said before, things like create destroy water. Let's create lesser water. And we just throw it on this one here. Just like that. Now they've got the wet stat, which means if we were to do lightning damage to them, we would really pump it out. For example, Cool Lightning. So if we throw this up here, onto the enemy here, just an example, we are probably going to get some friendly fire, and that's okay. Obviously play more tactically than I am. And there you go. 38 huge damage. In fact, what we're going to do is I'm going to show off Greater Jinx. This is a bit of a waste because obviously one hit point, but you can see how much damage this will do. And there you go. Overall, the Witchblade is probably one of my favourite mods in the entire game. It is just so fun. You get to have melee, defensive capabilities, you can spellcast, it's just incredible. So, I really hope you've enjoyed. If you have, please drop the episode a like, it helps me amazingly. Let me know in the comments what you'd change about this build, what other items, what spells you might use. If you're not ready, please subscribe to the channel for more. I've got more Baldur's Gate guides, more guides to Path of Exile, Dragon Age to Veilguard, Elden Ring, all that fun stuff. I really do hope you have enjoyed, and if you have, hopefully, I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.